here good. Welcome to Thursday Therapy. We are here. So, if you don't know me, my name is Mia Garrett. I am a licensed clinical social worker and your mental wellness guide. Hey, Darkest. Hey, girl. Welcome. We just getting started. We're like a few minutes late, but who cares? I'm here. We're here. I'm feeling really good, you guys. I needed this session today. Y'all, this is for me and you. Hey, Famaya. Hey, girl. How is that baby doing? I have got to get out there and see y'all. But I know he is so precious and wonderful, and mommyhood is popping. I know it is, girl, because I'll be looking at your gram, honey. So today, I'm just feeling really good, you guys. I am coming off of this full moon being in Scorpio and in Taurus, and it has really set forth some transformative energy. And hey, Gidget. Hey, girl. Welcome to Thursday Therapy. I'm so happy that you are able to join us through Amber's account. And I will make sure to remember to address you as Gidget instead of Amber when I see her questions come up. And I'm sorry I couldn't get to your question through the email. I don't know what happened, but just feel free to put your questions here in the chat and we can go from there. So today, this thing is like all in my hair, y'all. It's loving me. Today, we are continuing our conversation about pathology. So if you guys have been with us for the last maybe 3 Thursdays, we have been covering the topic of the root of our current behaviors. So the behaviors that are no longer serving us, right? And the beliefs, the thoughts, the emotions that are associated with them. So if you're on the email list, I sent out this handy dandy, can you guys see? This handy dandy worksheet I call it the backtracker, that helps you do the work of once you have identified the behavior that you would like to dismiss out of your life, that you would like to cut yourself off from, that you would like to change and transform into something greater and better and more aligned, then it takes you through the feelings that drive that behavior and then the thoughts and beliefs that hold up those feelings or that trigger those feelings. So I'm not sure if you guys were able to check it out yet, but I have this copy with me and we can just go through it together. So of course, I have this topic of pathology and the root of our behaviors, but this is your session. So whatever it is that you would like to cover, any situations, relationship stuff, I'm sorry y'all, my computer is acting crazy. Any relationship stuff, anything that you would like to bring to the table, that's what we're here to talk about. So at any time, just put your question into the chat and I will keep up with it better, I hope, this time. And we can just go from there. So, like I said before, pathology is the history that we have with our behaviors, right? It's the root. It's the belief system or the beliefs that we've been taught to have that drive our current behavior. For example, if you have a behavior that is, let's say, yelling at your children when they don't take out the trash, and you associate disobedience with disrespect, it's important to ask yourself the questions: where did you learn that disobedience was connected to disrespect? Let's try another one. If you and your partner, hey John, thanks for coming. If you and your partner constantly argue about going out, right? So your partner wants to go out, you don't want them to go out, and you guys are arguing now about why you're going out, curfews, what time you're going to be home, what are you going to be doing, who are you going to be with. That's the behavior, right? You are causing confrontation when your partner wants to leave the house. Maybe in your past, maybe that's causing you to feel fear Maybe it's causing you to feel mistrust. Maybe it's causing you to feel insecurities. Thank you. I really appreciate you checking in. I love that. Hey, Symone. Hey, girl. Thanks for joining us. We're just going over pathology and what rage. Maybe you're feeling rage. Yes, 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 yes. It goes back to my mom. Absolutely. What did you see from your parents? But also, not everything goes all the way back to childhood, right? Some things do, so they start there. So let's say that your mom and dad had a tumultuous relationship and there was just some feelings or actions of distrust there. Like you overhear a conversation of your mom questioning your dad about money being spent, or you overhear a conversation of your dad questioning your mom, where is she going for, or where has she been all day. Okay, so those are seeds planted. But then once you get into like adolescence and early adulthood, we start defining things a little differently, right? So it could be that, oh my God, girl, my man went out and didn't come home till 4 o'clock in the morning, and I found out, that he was, out off having sex with some girl, that he was having sex with such and such. And girl, I did this and I did that. Or your homeboys, oh yeah, man, when your girl go out, you know what that means. A whole bunch of dudes gonna be all in her face, and is your girl strong enough? So in our early adulthood, there are some new lessons that are being learned that are just building upon the foundation of the seeds planted in childhood. And so it's very, very important, because do we really want to take advice given in college or when we were in high school along with us into our marriages and lifelong relationships and serious relationships of our adulthood, of our 30s? Do we really want to do that? Probably not. I'm not listening to a 21-year-old Mia or a 15-year-old Mia who just knew she was so in love about how to interact with my husband today. I'm just not doing it. She really didn't know that much. She was still growing and learning, just doing her thing, right? So that's what we make up on fleek. Thanks, girl. Feeling cute too. That's what we mean. That's what I mean when I'm talking about pathology, right? When I'm talking about the root of our decisions today, of our behaviors today. So let's just jump right into it. I have an example, but I want to know from you guys, what are some of the behaviors that you're ready to let go? So while you guys are telling me, let's talk a little bit about the energies that are happening right now in the cosmos and in our lives, because I'm seeing it. If you got the newsletter, I'm seeing it on my timeline. I'm seeing it on my newsfeed on IG. Everybody is feeling the transformative energy. Everybody is, whether you recognize what's happening or not, right? So the moon right before the full moon, which was yesterday, the day before yesterday, the moon was in Scorpio. Moon's in Scorpio, Venus is in Scorpio, Jupiter's in Scorpio, Mercury's in Scorpio. The sun is in Scorpio. Everybody's having a party in Scorpio. If you know anything about this sign, it's all about transformation, deep thoughts, looking inward. It's deep emotions, right? And Venus is all about value system. It's about love. The moon is about how you are presenting yourself in the world. The sun is all about your actions. And Mercury is about communication. These are energies, right? And when everything is chilling, I'm a Gemini too, NY glass, yes girl. When everybody is hanging out, all of the energies are hanging out in Scorpio, everything is asking you to take a deeper dive, take a deeper look, and to do something about it. Do something about the information that you gather when you look inside. So if you're looking inside and figuring out that, hey, Natasha, if you're looking inside and you see that there's something in there that's not in alignment with your best self, the higher version of yourself, then Scorpio energy asks you to do something about it. Hey, Pat. Hey, guys. Come on in, y'all. We're doing Thursday therapy. Remember, this is your session. I'm running my mouth up here. This is your session. So if you ever have a topic or a question or something you want to touch on and explore, just jump right in. Let me see if I missed anybody. Let's see. Symone said, I'm becoming a new me, better. I know exactly what I want and my mind is clear. Isn't that the energy for today? It's so good. And that's what happens when, after you do your inner looking, after you do your working and your evaluation and assessment of what is serving you and what is not serving you, then it's time to make those choices and cut shit off. Start chopping stuff up. Start saying, okay, this is what needs to go. This is what needs to go. This is what needs to go. That's what the worksheet is all about. So that once we decide what needs to go, we can do the work of finding the root of it, the belief system that holds that up, the belief system that keeps us coming back to the same patterns of behavior, and we can cut those roots. And sometimes those roots don't need to be cut. They just need to be transformed. They need to be rewired. They need to be added to or taken away from. You know, so that's our work. And this energy is so perfect to be doing this, to be looking deeper into the why of our behaviors. And then it's about transformation. So it's also a perfect time to make your decision on where you want to go, and then start taking those steps towards, hey Maisha, welcome honey. And then start taking those steps towards the new you. And not completely new, really the transformed you, the higher self that you're connecting with. Because not everything needs to be, you know, thrown in the garbage, right? Some of the things just need tweaking. Some things need to be kept, but some things need to be thrown in the garbage. They really do. New York Glass says, I started focusing on my feelings and my life. I started with my finances. It's definitely hard, but I'm in focus. But finances is a perfect place to start. It's value. When we talk about value, it can be money, currency, and by currency, I'm talking energy currents. I'm talking currency, money that we can trade, but all things start with energy currency. So finances is a perfect place to start thinking about or examining what's really important to you. Because when we exchange our energy for stuff, it tells you what's really important. What do you spend your money on? That's what's really important to you. Not just what you think is important in your mind, what you say is important. It's all about your action. It's all about that action. Obey This Princess says, I'm learning to stand out of my comfort zone and trying different things to help me in life and myself. Yes, getting out of your comfort zone is key. That's where the magic happens. That's where growth happens, right? And so tell me a little bit more, both New York Glass and Obey This Princess. Y'all tell me a little bit more about what these decisions, what behaviors in particular, if you don't mind sharing, what behaviors in particular do you think that you need to change in order to experience the transformation? Right? Because it's easy to say finances, or it's easy to say get out of my comfort zone. Those things are vague. And even Symone, let me know what are the specific behaviors that you are looking at to transform your life or looking to let go of in order to transform your life. And New York Glass and Obey This Princess, same thing. What are you looking to let go? What are you looking to bring in? It's very important that we get specific, y'all, because we can stay in the vagueness of transformation and just live there. We can live there for years and years. You know, new me who this can be years and years and years, but what does a new me look like? And it's in the details is where you're going to find action steps. It's where you're going to find the path back to the belief systems, the thoughts, the feelings that you need to disconnect with, or you need to just remodel. So I do want to get into this worksheet, guys. Let me see if my computer is going to cooperate, and I know that it is. Let's see. So my specific behavior that I added to the worksheet, and I didn't finish it because I wanted to finish it with you guys. My specific behavior is avoiding friends and not following up with people. I am a Mia is my name. MIA, missing in action, is what people know of me, because I know that I have always had, I've always struggled with keeping in contact with people, with pursuing friendships. And a lot of my friends know this. A lot of them accept me for who I am, and they continue to pursue our relationship, and I'm here for it, but I find it very difficult to pursue. And that is something that is not serving me, because it bleeds over into my business, it bleeds over into my romantic relationship, it bleeds over into things that are really, really important to me. And so I'm going to get to your questions, and then we'll finish with going through this worksheet. But that's my behavior that I want to change, and I want to know what's yours too. So Symone says, letting go of toxic and indecisive energy. Yes, letting go of indecisiveness, because we know what we want in 2018 and beyond, right? And learning to stick by people who make me feel good and on a similar path. So Symone, it sounds like what you're doing is revamping your social group, right? And you're getting yourself in alignment with people who are on the same path as you. And then making decisions to cut things off, y'all. I was looking at my tarot cards, and the Queen of Swords her energy just kept coming up. The Death card and the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is very intentional with her words. It's air energy, it's communication energy. And so she's very intentional and concise. And what happens, as I'm sure you guys have heard, that the power of life and death is in the tongue, or the tongue can be a double-edged sword. Your words, Symone, your words can be the thing that will cut off toxic relationships. Your words will be the things that will bring to fruition those by making those decisions. It will bring into manifestation the things that you want to see for your life. And it will also build the relationships that are new and on the same path as you. I love it. So is there anything that on this journey, Symone, is there anything that you need to get rid of? Any specific behaviors that you need to let go of? New York Glass. Remind me of your name, New York Glass, so I can address you appropriately. I feel like you told me on the last one. I stopped mani-pedi, eating out and shopping, and I thought I was gonna fail, but I didn't. Good job. You should do a tarot card on live. That would be fun. Wouldn't that be fun? I might do that one. Maybe one evening when the kids are in bed, I'll pull out the tarot, or a Saturday when they're with their dad. I usually don't promote tarot or even really tell people that I do it. I'm getting out of my comfort zone by even talking about it today. But I allow other people's energy to kind of feel that out for me. And then if you want one, just DM me and I got you. But I might do one on live. That'd be fun. Maybe one Thursday or an evening. But going back to your specific behaviors that you want to stop. Now, the beginning can be easy because you have lots of momentum. New York Glass. There's lots of momentum. So you say, no more mani-pedis, no more eating out, no more shopping. And there might be some roots that you need to go further in. So tell me what feelings are associated with those specific behaviors, with spending money, with getting those mani-pedis, with eating out, with going shopping. I know for me, a lot of feeling to that is luxury. That's very, like, all those things you just mentioned are where 94% of my money goes, and the other 6 goes to the kids. I'm just joking, but you know what I mean. It just makes you feel like you got it. I know it makes me feel like I got it. But tell me a little bit more about the feelings that are associated with those actions: the mani-peding, the eating out, the shopping. Obey This Princess says, I'm learning to start being around positive vibes. Also, I'm trying to start up a business. Yes, boo, high five. So I'm about to learn more about myself and motivating myself and building up my confidence to explore my inner thoughts and thinking outside the box. That is excellent. I need to get rid of toxic energy. Yes, I love it. So tell me about, so I hear you got a lot in there, girl. You are starting a new business, which I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. That you're wanting to be around more positive vibes, learning more about yourself and motivating yourself, building up your confidence. But give me some specific behaviors, either specific behaviors like, for example, if I wanted to build up my confidence, I would start doing affirmations in the morning. I would start to build up my confidence by doing affirmations that tell me that how bomb I am, right? I am enough. I am abundance. I am a goddess. I am in control of my destiny. I'm a master of my fate. I am the fullness of life's expressions. You know what? That's what I would do to start feeling more confident. So tell me about your specific behaviors that you are wanting to incorporate into your life that will lead you to being around positive vibes. Are you cutting some people off? Are you putting up some new boundaries? Are you communicating differently? Are you connecting with the Queen of Swords energy? Queen of Swords is about being concise with words, saying what you need to say, telling people how you feel and think in a way that lets them know how you are going to be behaving in the future. A lot of times we make the choice to tell others how they're going to behave in the future. Oh, no. Queen of Swords says, I'm going to let you know how I'm going to behave in the future so there's no surprises. Don't be surprised if you don't see me as much anymore, or you don't hear from me as often anymore. I'm clearing the field. I think we talked about burning the fields during the fall equinox. Yes. Behaviors. Okay, wait. Famaya says, yes. I'm reconnected. People think you're a witch or something. Yeah, it's weird. That word witch, I kind of like it a little bit, but I'm multifaceted. I'm going to say that. I am multifaceted, and I feel like that phrase that is biblical, as above, so below, that is also derived from the 7 universal laws of Tahuti. As above, so below, to me, reminds me of macrocosms and microcosms. It reminds me of macro practice and micro practice. It reminds me of things that are larger than myself, like the cosmos, the planets, the sun, the moon, those energies, myself, and my internal bodies, the bacteria, the cells, the organs that make me up. So as above, so below works in so many different ways, and it's just an understanding of these things that are communicated through the cards when I use them. Anyways, Symone says behaviors. I would say that I'm learning how to shut the door on relationships that don't serve me. I used to not be open about how I feel and leave the door open to just be hurt. That reminds me of something that a clinician that I was working with in couples counseling, he said that when you don't have boundaries and you don't have expectations, then you have no relationship. It's not really a relationship. It ends up being codependent. When we are afraid to say what we need to say, when we're afraid to do the things that make us feel good, it ends up being a codependent relationship, because a lot of times we are feeding the dysfunction of others. Even if we don't recognize it as that, sometimes our behavior is just feeding other people's dysfunctions. And when we start to put ourselves first, that is where the magic happens. But a lot of times that is outside of our comfort zones. That is where we are making decisions and saying words that puts our well-being in the forefront, and it can be very uncomfortable because it's different. It's not the same as feeding into somebody else's dysfunctions, or feeding into our own dysfunction and our own dysfunctional scripts from our past, our pathology. It's different, and it's like uncharted territory, right? It's a whole new path. You don't know what the result will be. I'm going through the same thing, y'all. Same thing. It's a transformative energy. when you decide that you are going to say the things you need to say and do the things you need to do for yourself, and you have no idea what's on the other side, but have faith that on the other side of putting yourself first is your best life. It's your best life. So keep it up, Symone. But so let's talk about the emotions that come to you when you are shutting the door on relationships that no longer serve you. And I want you to be real with this here, because sometimes it can be very scary to shut the door on relationships that don't serve you, especially ones that you've been in for a very long time. What does it mean to be open about how you feel? You know, how does that feel to you? What are some emotions, if you can put one or two emotions or associate one or two emotions with those behaviors, what would they be? What can you identify as that? Okay, Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer. New York Glass. I feel I'm rewarding myself. Yes. Mani-pedis is definitely a reward. I think it makes good sense when I'm growing up and didn't have much. So I think I'm making up for old poor days, absolutely. And doesn't society tells us, you know, hair did, nails did, everything did. It. So many times society will lay upon us what is valuable to us. But in this time, it is so important for us to continue to do the work of identifying what is valuable to us on our own terms, because a fat savings account may be what's more important than a mani-pedi. And then it opens the door up for us to be creative when we associate value in new ways. But let's talk about, Jennifer, what are some of the emotions that are behind rewarding yourself? What are some of the emotions that are behind growing up in poverty, and what that means for you today and how you spend your money? What are some, if you can associate some emotions to rewarding yourself, or even some emotions to the very specific behaviors of getting your mani-pedis and getting your buying food, eating out at nice restaurants, you know, going shopping and buying yourself new things. I know that it's rewarding, but what are some of the emotions that come behind that as well? Yeah, I gotta do better with keeping up with these. I talk so much, don't I? Okay, so Symone says, I'm a lot more confident in expressing myself now and not ashamed. Yes. Obey This Princess says, I need to start doing mirror talk. Yes, mirror talk is so important. Looking into your own eyes and speaking to yourself, speaking love into yourself, into your physical self, and touching yourself while you say those things. That's very powerful. It's very powerful. There was some experiment done by a gentleman. I don't have his name right now, but I will repost the experiment on my in my stories after this. He spoke to water molecules, and the vibration of the words changed the water molecules. When he said loving things to the water, it turned into beautiful snowflakes, beautiful art, these water molecules. But when he spoke devastating words or words of hatred, ugliness, the water reflected that as well. It turned into all kinds of strange looking, random, chaotic manifestations. All right, Kim. Hey, Kim. Hey, Awake Alpha. Hey, everybody who's just joining or who joined a while ago and I'm just getting to you. Kim said, sorry I'm late. The Chick-fil-A line held me up. The Chick-fil-A line held me up. What? Chick-fil-A? Chick-fil-A usually be on it, y'all. Awake Alpha said, I've been feeling a lot of Queen of Swords, right? She is working in our lives, y'all. Beautifully put. Thank you, girl. Obey This Princess says, I want to be strong for my son, so I am trying different things. I'm learning about network marketing and having a different mindset on life. Won't having a child put a completely different fire under your ass to build something that is long lasting, to build your empire, to build your queendom, to build your kingdom? Having a child will, especially, I mean, this is just for mamas, because this is something that I experienced, is birth and being responsible for a whole nother human being will have you thinking about legacy. And so tell me a little bit more about the behaviors. What are so you're learning about network marketing, having a different mindset. Tell me about that mindset. Tell me about the emotion that is tied to learning more about network marketing, the emotion that's tied to doing that research. Because I know that sometimes the emotion that I will feel when it comes to my business is passion. Another emotion is fear, and fear being a driving force, of fear that I will leave this world without leaving a legacy for my boys, and that will have me up at 2 o'clock in the morning posting and researching and doing market research, creating content. Another emotion that always has me motivated is excitement as well. Excitement for the future. Optimism is an emotion that has me geared up. Like, I cannot wait to see this be birthed into my reality. Compassion too, connection to people. I chose social work because I love helping people. I love not just helping people, I love partnering with people as they discover things in life. I love aha moments for myself and others. I love when we get it together, right? When we get it and we get it together. That kind of stuff is like, it makes me so ramped up and ready to go. It makes me feel like I'm taking some drugs or something. Like, it makes me feel on top of the world, like I'm floating, like I'm astro projecting. And so I chose a profession that I can do that all the time in. And so those emotions are what drive me and motivate me a lot. Obey This Princess said, compassion and fear is too. Absolutely. Let's see. Yes, it has. Kim says, my unhealthy connection to my ex was something that I had to let go. At first, I was scared because I didn't want to regret cutting him off. Now I feel relief. That's another thing about that. The other side of putting yourself first, right, Kim? Like, we can be really afraid. Like, we know what to do. There's like some intuition, and there are some messages that come from outside of ourselves, that from something higher than ourselves, a knowing that pushes us to make action, to take action. And this is one of those times where we need to be really listening out for that voice, that inner voice that tells us, just walk away, just move on. Don't be afraid to lose. Don't be holding on to something so tightly that you can't open your hand to receive the new good stuff. And having those unhealthy attachments to people, to things, to behavior will absolutely be the thing that hinders you from going to the next level. And the letting go of those things will be what will promote you right to the next level. And sometimes it's a slow process, but I don't know. I'm feeling things moving. I'm feeling things happening faster. And so if you can have the courage to release, and by release, I mean taking a look at what you're holding on to so tightly and why, then I think you will experience the rewards of that pretty quickly. Kim said she felt relief. And isn't relief much better than being stressed or feeling like you have to grab and hold on to something so tightly that really you should just be coexisting with and co-creating with? Yes. Famaya says, absolutely, experiencing more motivation since I had my baby, a different connection to family. I want my son to know he can achieve his dreams, and there is no better example than you, right, Mama? There's no better example, especially, and for those of us who have sons, y'all, it is imperative that we are showing our sons how to relate to women, how to relate to, and this is a little bit, a little off, but it's okay. How to relate to women and how to be in relationship with women. As they grow older, there are so many little things that come up that teaches them how to interact with a woman's boundaries, teaches them how to interact with a woman's no, and with a woman's yes, and with a woman's not right now. It teaches them patience. I cannot tell y'all how many times my 1-year-old, almost 2, he'll be 2 in December, how many times he holds my leg when I'm trying to do something else. I could be cooking dinner for him, and I'll say, baby, aren't you hungry? Aren't you ready to eat? Mama's almost finished dinner. Let's do something else. But not always being available to them, especially as they grow older. I know that you guys have infants right now, but especially as they grow older into toddlerhood and early childhood and into early adolescence. I have an early adolescent. He almost a teenager now. As they grow older, it's so important to teach them not only how to go out here and get your dreams and grab onto your dreams, but also how to be in relationship with one another, especially how to be in relationship with a woman, because that's what you are. You're not just mom. You are a woman. Back to our scheduled programming. Let's see. Obey This Princess says, and I'm open to new things. I want to have legacy put into play for my son. Absolutely. So I'm still waiting to hear from Symone and from Jennifer about what your emotions that are attached to your new behaviors so that you can continue on those paths. And then Obey This Princess says, great advice from what you said about letting go of current boyfriend that you know isn't for you, but you're trying to hold on to what? Something I need to think about. And in order to really dig deep into that experience, let's talk about the emotions that are associated with it. What is it that keeps you going back? What do you feel every time you interact with this relationship? Every time you think about your connection to your son's father? Let me share my own experience. Now, my now husband and I, we've been together since we were 17 years old. So high school. He was my boyfriend when I was a senior in high school. And we had our first child when we were 20 years old. And when he was 2, we broke up. And I remember so many feelings around not breaking up, even though our relationship at that point was very toxic. Every single day. I think that we were arguing daily. We were living together. He had some family that was living with us. We had just bought a house that we weren't ready to buy. There was just a lot. There were a lot of things that made the relationship toxic. Even though, look, we're married now. But then at that point, one of the things that kept me in that relationship, maybe for an extra whole year, was a fear of being judged by other women in particular about being an unwed mother. At that point, he was my fiance, so I had a ring. So nobody was questioning, They always said, oh, how are you and your husband? Or they would just automatically assume, since I had a child, that I was married because I had a ring. And I didn't want to let that go. I didn't want to let the idea of being coupled with a man and having a child, I didn't want to be judged from that. And you know where that comes from? It comes from things that we're taught as young women, as young people. We're taught, that even the language of bastard and out of wedlock, like, oh, don't have a child out of wedlock. Those things are rooted and will cause us so many emotions that will keep us attached to things that we need to let go. So what are the emotions that are keeping you tied to this relationship? And we will come back to that. Jennifer, New York Glass says, when I used to shop, it was a good feeling. knowing I'm able to afford things. I worked hard for this, yes. But when I get home, that satisfaction goes away. It's temporary, right? Because we remember, oh shoot, like there are other things that I needed to do with this, even if it's only save, even if it's only meet my financial goals, you know. So of course, so there's two emotions that I'm hearing from you, Jennifer. Is that the first one is affirmation. You feel affirmed that you working hard is worth the work, right? Because you get to reward yourself. But the other emotion is regret. Regret for spending in a way that does not align with some of your future goals. So the emotion is, the two emotions that I'm seeing, and correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I'm off. The emotions that you're feeling, hey Shari, thanks for coming. The emotions that you're feeling are affirmation and regret. And then we can work back to belief systems from there. Hey Shari, hey girl. Obey This Princess says, I do love him, yes, because I want a family and I see a lot of potential in him. It's toxic and we've been together for a year and 6 months now. So I see love being one of those things, and the desire for a family. What emotions are attached to that? What emotions are attached to wanting a family? Because y'all, being with your child's father or your child's mother because you desire to create something that sometimes you had, like myself, I grew up in a 2-parent household. Sometimes you didn't have. Some people grew up outside of their parents' home with family members, or they grew up bouncing from home to home, or they grew up in a with parents who got divorced, and they have emotions attached to growing up in that environment. Both sides, and both sides will keep you in a toxic relationship, won't it? So tell me, Obey This Princess, tell me about what the emotions are that are attached to wanting the behavior. I mean, wanting a family, because the behavior is sticking it out, right? Staying in a toxic situation. I didn't grow up in a 2-parent household. I'm waiting for change. He's kind of changing, but he needs to change a lot of things. So since you didn't grow up in a 2-parent household, tell me about what it means to you, what the emotions are. So for me, the emotion is security. When I think about providing my children with a 2-parent household, I think about emotional security. I think about how safe I felt in my parents' house and wanting to create that. And so also attached to that is fear too, right? Fear of not being able to provide my children with emotional security. Because for me, maybe there's only one way, and that's to live in a 2-parent household. Obey This Princess, you said same. Give me a little bit more about that. Which part? Because you know, I'll be talking, I can barely keep up with myself. Which part is the same? You want the 2-parent household. What's the emotion that goes with 2-parent household for you? What's the emotion that goes with 2-parent household? So if you're just joining, we are talking about behaviors that we need to release in this season. You know, we are in the fall. We talked a little bit about cosmic energy and where planets are right now that makes us that pushes us to be transformative in our action with our words. But also, guys, we're in the fall. Fall is here. I have my blanket on me because it's cold. And when I look out and I see fall happening around me, and I'm looking out windows when I look that way, I see what I call a beautiful death. I see the trees and the grass turning these beautiful colors, my favorite colors. If you look at my brand colors, they are mimicking fall, because to me, fall mimics the sunrise. You see oranges, you see browns, you see tans. It's just really, really beautiful. And when I think about transformation of self, it's about a beautiful death as well, because there's so many great things on the other side of you letting go of some of these things that aren't serving you. So what are your behaviors, for those that are just joining us? What are your behaviors that you need to let go and release this season of the fall? What needs a beautiful death in your life? What needs to be cut off? Obey This Princess says, I wanted emotional security. Excellent. So now, since we say that your emotion that is attached to it is security, right? This makes you feel secure. It makes you feel like you're providing emotional security for your child by staying in this toxic relationship. What do you believe? What is your thought? What are your thought processes about holding firm to a relationship with the father of your child, the person that you created life with? What are your beliefs that make you think that staying with that person is going to produce you with security? It's going to provide you with emotional security. Okay, you said, I guess I see a lot of older couples, and I see the love, happiness, compassion, and I know that came with a lot of forgiveness and communication, and it does. But you know what else it comes with? Boundaries. You would be surprised how many older couples took some time apart, separated from each other, because they were not respecting each other's boundaries, because the relationship had become toxic. And you cannot create compassion, love, happiness inside of toxicity. They don't live together. They don't live in the same space. And so it sounds like one of your beliefs is that the staying and forgiving and compassion, which also means staying and giving time, that is what produces emotional security and those types of relationships that you see in older couples. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's go back, because Jennifer said something and Kim said something too. Let's see. Kim, you said, man, I missed your reply to your comment because I had to take a call. I watched the replay. Do you know which one, Kim? Because I don't mind repeating your reply to my comment. Remind me of what you said. Repost it so I can say it again. And NY Glass, Jennifer said, I do get the affirmation when I'm shopping. I don't regret it. Well, sometimes, depending on the price tag. I think my feeling is avoidance, where my life is, my relationships with my parents. Tell me a little bit more about that, about feeling, about what you're avoiding where my life is, and how that's connected to your shopping. How are the emotions of avoidance connected to your spending behavior, your finances? And it says, my relationship with my parents. And I'm getting the feeling that this has something to do with maybe how your parents spent money, growing up without having much, and what that produces for you in the here and now. Because a lot of times I've found that when you grow up and things are scarce, you are afraid to repeat that scarcity in your adult life. You have more control, right? You work harder. It's your choice. But the fear comes in, and fear is attached to doing the same things, producing the same results as your parents produced, even though they worked hard. That's an assumption. I'm not sure what happened with your parents, but just tell me more about that. But I know that sometimes we want to reject the things that our parents did and create a whole new reality for ourselves. And that would be the thoughts that produce the emotion of being affirmed that shopping and spending is what is making you feel better. It's better than whatever feelings came along with scarcity from your childhood. But tell me more about it. Give me a little more information about how the emotion is connected, the emotion of affirmation, no, I'm sorry, the emotion of avoidance is connected to shopping and the thoughts and beliefs you have about your parents. If you don't mind sharing, because now we're diving a little deep, y'all. It's diving a little deeper. Jennifer also gives some advice to Obey This Princess. And Obey This Princess, remind me of your name, sweetheart, so I can address you appropriately as well. I was with a man for 4 years off and on. I knew I had to leave him, but I didn't. I thought he would change for me and the relationship, but he never did. I guess I stayed because of how much effort and time I invested in him. Long story short, I left him. My self-esteem got better and I learned I wasn't happy with him. And you know what's so great about change, but can also be devastating for us, is that people change when they're ready. And people only change for themselves. Nobody changes for other people. Even if you're motivated by changing for someone else, let's say you have a child, because we're talking about motherhood. Let's say that you come into a new relationship and you are motivated to change because of these new arrivals into your life, especially our children. You won't actually change until you're ready to. And the same with our men. They don't change for us. They change for themselves. And whatever, Twineesha, yes girl, hey Twineesha. And they will change. We can motivate them to change, but they're not gonna do it for us. They're gonna do it for themselves. And that could take 10 years. It could take 10 years. I tell my father-in-law all the time, he gets really upset about the lessons that he's teaching to my 12-year-old. And my 12-year-old, he's off the chain. He's like, whatever, and off to the next thing. And so it frustrates my father-in-law so much. But I tell him, like, listen, just keep saying it. Continue to teach, but detach emotionally. And that's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is emotional detachment. If you can detach emotionally from other people's changes, which is very hard to do, much easier said than done. It's a complete process to that. But if you can do it, then you can free others to grow at their own pace, to do what they need to do when they need to do it. You know? Let's see. Obey This Princess, Twineesha, says, and him learning how to be a little sensitive and more loving, maybe it has something to do with how he grew up. Absolutely. And it's okay to ask him about it too. It's okay to ask him about his experiences with affection and love and emotions in his childhood. Sometimes you can just say, what were you taught about feelings? What did your parents or what did the people who raised you teach you about feelings when you were growing up? What did you know about them? Were you allowed to cry when you were a little boy? Were you allowed to cry when you were a little girl? You know, it's really important to go back to some of these experiences in our childhood in order to see what belief systems live there. Because he might have a belief system that he is not supposed to be close to you and affectionate with you. And it sounds like you have a belief system that a man is supposed to be a little sensitive, or you have a desire for him to be sensitive, but that comes from a belief that love and relationships that sensitivity is a part of love and relationships, right? Yes. Okay, let's see. Jennifer says, yes, princess. My reason was I wanted a man to love me. I just wanted a man in my life. He was so good looking, but didn't treat me right. I wasted so much time chasing after him, praying to God to guide him. We all live and learn. When you're ready, you will do the best decision. You will make the best decision for you. I learned so much from that relationship. What I accept for a guy, what a relationship consists of, what I expect from a guy, what a relationship consists of, etc. And Twineesha responds, he can talk a good game, but he needs to apply to himself. Well, he had a crazy stepdad that was very strict on him, and we went through a lot with his stepfather. But you know, another thing, Twineesha, is focus and attention, right? So it's so easy to focus your attention onto your partner. And this is sometimes why it's important to take breaks with your partners while you're working on yourself, or even just to communicate with your partners. Hey, manage your expectations of me during this time because I'm really focused on growing myself and I need a little bit of detachment to do that. You know, in order to detach from his decisions, detaching from his movement, from his level of sensitivity, to attempt to give yourself the things you are missing from the relationship. Because something that I have found that is very prevalent in romantic relationships is that we start to ask others to do for us what we're not even sure how to do for ourselves. And a lot of times we will see relationships that are perfect. We think they're perfect. They are made to look perfect. Hey, Jenny. That are made to look perfect, that are made to look like fairy tales. And we think that someone, our partner, is supposed to come in and teach us how to do for ourselves. And it's a nice story. We would love to have that experience of our partners being our greatest teacher. But just to be honest, most of the time, our partners are our greatest teacher in the way that Jennifer is explaining, and how it hurts us, how the relationship space becomes painful for us. And we learn through that pain. We learn, okay, this is not acceptable anymore. I just can't accept this. I've tried and I cannot. Or we learn, man, I need something that I didn't know that I needed that is missing from this relationship. And that is the work of going backwards, right? Okay, so I'm looking at this a certain way. I have feelings, I have emotions. My emotion is what? A desire for security. My emotions are fear, are insecurity. I feel insecure when I don't have a partner to share my life with. And to be real and honest with yourself and to really look at where those beliefs come from. What will happen if you say no to a toxic relationship? What will happen if you say no to this toxic relationship? And we are so afraid of loss, but a person is never really lost. Especially when you're just breaking up with them, or when you just put space or boundaries in place, they're not lost. They're just now funneled through the boundaries that we've said keep us safe and our emotional spaces safe. Mac Black is on. Mac Black said, you can only do what you know. Absolutely. Father figures. Tell me more about that. Every relationship teaches us something about ourselves. Those beliefs come from society. They come from society, absolutely, but they also, society is like the macro, right? It's the above where they come from. But those beliefs also we are trained with them through the relationship that we have with our parents. As a parent, I am teaching my children what's important by my actions, by what I talk about, by what I pay attention to. And so in our childhood, what our parents did, what they talked about, what they paid attention to, what they punished us for and rewarded us for, also was the microcosm that we grew up in, that we marinated in, that we really got to look at, guys. We really got to look at where these beliefs come from. We got to look at if we still want them, right? And the work that it takes to cut them off. Guys, if you guys are interested in doing your work and getting the worksheet, I hope you can see it. Please sign up for the mailing list. I already sent this one out, but I will make sure to send another one. And if you are not signed up to get the replay. Everything comes through the mailing list. So please sign up there. If you want to book a session with me, go ahead and grab your free 33-minute session also at the link in my bio. Thank you so much for being here. I only have 23 seconds left. I'm trying to get better with the ending and the wrapping up, right? So I hope you guys join me next week. This has been an absolute pleasure. I'm so honored by your presence here. You guys are the village. You make all of this worth it. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.